everyone, and welcome to the harnessracing.com preview show sponsored by the Standardbred Horse Sales Company, coming to you live from Northfield Park tonight. It's Battle Night 2025. I'm your host, Wendy Ross. Joining me is my co-host tonight, my beautiful and dear friend to the left, Heather Wilder. Heather, welcome in, and thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Heather, of course, is one of the Heathers, the harness racing Heathers, the force behind Altmaier Wilder Racing, the newest member, and congratulations to the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. A Pacing for the Cure charity board member, Pacing for the Cure, always doing big things, fighting those multiple sclerosis and other diseases, so something so proud that I know you're proud to be a part of.
I am. I'm so proud of everything that they do for our harness racing individuals.
A big part of the Vincent Delaney Memorial Ireland Tour and festivities. Now, if you know, we got to go there last year, the team and I, and we had a great time, and you're a big part of putting that all together, and hats off to them, because it is really a cool event over there.
Well, it meant the world to the Delaney family and all those people in Ireland and Great Britain to have you guys there. I can't thank you enough. How nice. This is our first sit down, Wendy. We're always doing these standing little interviews, and we get to be sitting down tonight.
Well, before we get into what we're doing here tonight at Northfield Park, it's a beautiful night for racing, but you're also a proud mama. You got to bring one of your beautiful daughters, Lauren, with you tonight. What'd you say, Lauren? Come on, jump in the car. Let's go do a little TV.
I said, let's have a little time to just talk, and we went over the race card, and it's so great because she loves the sport just as much as I do. You're busy yourself, though. Let's be honest. You weren't just sitting at home getting ready for tonight's festivities. You were out showing.
Yes, I've got into the quarter horse world, as I've talked about it. If you follow me on social media, it's become a big part of my life. My mare Dolly, Queen of Invitations, has taken me to some big shows. We jumped right in last year and found a trainer, Kyle Jones. He's great, and we're having fun. So yeah, we're at a show this weekend, but of course we had to get back to business and do the show here tonight.
I love watching. I'm following as a fan. I have to tell you, I'm a Dolly fan. I love harness racing. I love the Standardbreds, but man, Dolly is just such a beautiful quarter horse, and I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, but don't forget, now people might not know, fun fact about Heather Wilder, you used to love to show when you were a kid, and you were a show mom there for a minute.
I did both, and I am very competitive, so I know the stress that you are feeling, and you have to go right back tomorrow and be in the show ring by what, 6, 7 a.m.?
Yeah, we'll start showing tomorrow about 8. I had to miss the English tonight, but that's okay. We had to be here, and for Battle, we've got a great card tonight led by that $200,000 Battle of Lake Erie, 3-year-old Ohio Sire Stakes action. This Ohio Sire Stakes program is something to be talked about in the Buckeye Disc for pacing mares for 4-year-olds and up. We have 2 guests joining us on the show. Driver Chris Lems, the newlywed.
Yes, the newlywed, yes.
And the guy that does it all here at Northfield Park, I think he's been here since before time. I'm going to tell him. We'll be so excited to have Northfield's very own Dave Bianconi joining us just to talk about the battle, Northfield Park, and of course some handicapping, a little bit of the handicapping segment. And I'll talk about everything that's going on here tonight. You might not be able to hear it, but we certainly can. We have a band playing live. Your 70s and 80s rock favorites, right?
Yes. It's funny. I walked in here at 4 p.m. and it was packed. Everything that's going on. They have food stands set up, a band. It's always electric for the battle, and it's electric right now. And we're an hour away from first race post.
So if you're in Cleveland area and you want to come listen to some rock and roll, hey, maybe get a gyro, a fresh lemonade, and come enjoy some great harness racing that they put together here for this card. Come on out to Northfield here tonight, because it's going to be a great one coming your way. Now let's talk a little bit about the battle, the reason we're here tonight. Now I know we're only here to cover one race, but it's always a great race. It's celebrating its 39th year. The first winner going all the way back to 1986.
Tom Harmer.
Falcon Seelster.
Falcon Seelster, with Tom Harmer, which, I mean, we got to see that great performance at the battle. He went on to do amazing things at the Little Brown Jug. I mean, what a way to kick off such a feature event by having such a memorable horse as a winner.
And of course, last year, Little Rocket Man, the Midwestern Connections, driver Jeremy Smith, getting it done. Now we're going to look at some fun facts. Our team has put together some Battle of Lake Erie fun facts. If we'll get the graphic here, we want to take a look at it. There it is. Matt Kakaley's the winningest driver. He's got a drive in there tonight. He's got 4 wins. Ron Burke, the winningest trainer, with 6 wins. Now don't forget his dad, Mickey Burke, put another one in the Burke win column with Maltese Artist. His dad, Mickey, was down. Fastest mile, Heather.
Yes.
This is the plan, 147.3. We're going to take a look at that here in just a little while. First battle we said was Falcon Silster 1986. Foiled again, has won it 3 times. No surprise there.
No surprise. The greatest, richest horse in harness racing, and he proves it with that.
Look at the Jaguar Spur, Peruvian Hanover, back-to-back winners, Jaguar Spur with your Meadows connection of Dickie Stillings.
Love it. Dickie Stillings, the trainer and driver on Jaguar Spur.
Now this is going to be one for me tonight. No horse has ever won from post 9. Now I hope that changes tonight. And that might be a little hint to my battle pick tonight, just saying.
Yes,
just
yes.
saying. Winningest post position is number 4 at 30%. Highest odds winner was Buckeye 1 at 31-1. Do you think we're going to see something like that tonight? I don't know. It's a wide open group.
I think it's possible, and I like Helium out of the 9 hole. I think that Danny will put him in a good position. I think he's peaking at the right time. Just coming over, I think he's taken time with him, and I feel like Danny Noble, I feel like he could do it. He could surprise us. That horse, it's a great field of horses, but don't just knock off Helium M.
Well, you are getting ahead of ourselves, and we got to get back into talking about some past races before we get in tonight. But one thing about this race, it always seems to be about speed. You never know how wild or western it's going to get. In the words of our dear friend, the late Sam McKee, it could get a little western out here. Always surprising. You just never know what to expect. But hey, I don't think this race ever disappoints.
No, it doesn't. There's tons of excitement, energy, and they are pedal down pedal to the metal from the time the gate springs open.
Now, Heather, looking back, let's look at a few of the most recent years, right, that have been so great. We're going to look here at the world record-setting mile from This Is the Plan, as they said that, 1:47.3. We're going to look at this mile. There he is, Yannick Gingras in 2021. That mile was simply amazing.
It was a total example of dominance. From the time the gate sprang, Yannick left alertly. He wasn't really challenged. He had horses come up next to him, but he would let out just a little bit on the reins, and from the 3/4 home just sprinted. It was dominance.
Interviewed Yannick, of course, in the post-race that night in the winner's circle. He was out of breath. This Is the Plan was out of breath, and I said to him, Yannick, I said, did you know how fast you were going? He said, it just felt like we were going really, really fast.
Yes.
But what a great mile.
You could see him turned around looking back, and it was really, you could tell what a dominant effort and what a great job.
I love This Is the Plan, and he's still with the Burke Connections. That's one thing. I love him, and his caretaker Margaret has been with him. I think he's going to have a home for life with Margaret, and he's still racing for I think he's about 8 now, but we get to see him every time we go to New Jersey. So This Is the Plan. He's a good old boy.
Wonderful.
He's been a great horse for them. 2023, we're going to take a look now at Lauren Tritton. Made history to become the first female driver to win, and she came to win that night, Heather. I caught up with her in the paddock. I had never interviewed Lauren or met her husband Shane, and then before this night, she came to win that night. It was all about girl power. She was confident. She won with her horse Lochinvar Art, or Artie.
I loved your interview in the paddock. I remember that one. I know that you're partial to the post-race that night with her because it was so exciting. But Lauren left alertly, got held up a little bit, stopped with braking horse traffic, and was second over from the quarter pole on to tip 3 wide and win the race. And I was just ecstatic, as I'm sure every woman was watching that race.
and we did our classic walk-a talk after the race with Lauren in the bike, and she was just wonderful to interview before, after the race. So confident, and that interview was such a big thing. It went viral, of course, forever. All of the Down Under connections were so proud of that, and we were proud to be able to talk with her. And then, of course, last year, we move on to, as we talked about earlier, Little Rocket Man. He was the little horse, but he has a big heart, and he got that win for driver Jeremy Smith.
He did. It was once again showing how driver strategies can vary with this race. Jeremy comes from behind to get the win. Recently, Jay Wolf, just 2 days ago, put out a story where Jeremy's been off for the last 29 days caring for his father, had 2 accidents last year, so really rooting for this horse and the feel-good story.
And I think that was the thing with Jeremy. He had the accidents, and to come back and battle from the neck injuries and things like that, and that just goes to just saying, been taking care of his father. That is the character of the kind of guy Jeremy Smith is. And
Agreed.
When he won last year, I think everyone was cheering for him and that horse, and it was so well deserved.
Yes, agreed.
Now we took to X this week. We said, what do you think? We had a couple polls. We have the polls here. We said, who do you think will win the Battle of Lake Erie? We had By the Missile, Desperate Man, Mossdale, Ben N, and Other. Ooh, By the Missile, Chris Page getting back in the bike. People are reuniting, coming off that win at Harris, Philly, and other. 17%, which could be, that plays into what we said. It is a wide open group, so it could go either way. So other people agree.
Chris Page has driven this horse 19 times. He's won 13 with this colt. He's won here in the Milstein. Of course, he won the Jug. He won the Adios. They're back together tonight.
And I think we're going to see. We were hoping to get to interview Chris, but all the guys are coming back from the Meadows, so he wasn't going to make it in time. But maybe we will have a Chris Page interview later. Next was, which Battle of Lake Erie was your favorite? We had This Is the Plan, Lochinvar Art A, or Artie, or Little Rocket Man. I think we know who everyone said. It was last year, Little Rocket Man. And I think we talked about exactly why that was the favorite. Now, it's always good to look back, but let's look at these 9 horses that that taking the spotlight here tonight. We take a look at the field. Wow, what a wide open group. Now, they have By the Missile, of course, is the favorite at 5-2 right now, as we talked about Chris Page, Ron Burke, or the Burke connection, should I say, looking to pick up their 8th Battle of Lake Erie win. You know, a couple of the driver choices in here. Aaron Merriman, of course, the winningest driver, or I think he's currently the winningest driver still. I don't know. I think, yep, he is. Oh, we got a thumbs up. Okay, guys, thanks. He had a choice in here of the 1 Duncan, the 2 7 Colors, or the 7 Chase H. Hanover. Now, here's the thing. I would have went with the 1 if I had the choice, if I'm Aaron. So I wonder what his choice was in here. 7 Colors, he must have thinks is coming in. Only looking for his 3rd start on the year for trainer Andrew Harris, but Aaron goes with the 2, 12-1 morning line.
I think that Aaron was probably looking into the future. 7 Colors. Historically, Andrew Harris is known for starting them out conservatively on these big race years. They're going into the summer. There's tons of money on the line. I think he's been conservative. I think Aaron knows that. And I think he also knows, though, at this point, 3rd start in on the year, a couple qualifiers, Andrew will have his horse ready to send.
And one thing about this race is there's some of horses that have been racing since the beginning of the year, of course, out there in Yonkers at the Borgata. And like you said, some horses just coming into form. So I have to see how fit, and fitness in a race like this can be a variable, I think, how fit the horse can be and what kind of trip it's going to be. And as we talked about earlier, you know it's going to be fast out of the gate. So you have to think, how fit are the horses coming in here? And you know that about up the backside when they're at the paddock, who's fit and who's ready to win, and who's not gonna be the best here tonight.
Exactly.
Moving on. So here's to take a few highlighting the race here tonight. We of course let's look at Mossdale Ben N for trainer Peter Tritton, driven by Jordan Stratton. Big win this year, taking the Borgata at Yonkers. He's fast, knows the half. Heather, I think post 5 makes him a big factor in this race here tonight. There's Mossdale Ben.
He's already made $416,000 this year. He's been impressive in the Borgata final, has won 8 starts of 11. He seems to be peaking at the right time. Peter Triton has won this race 2 times before. Jordan Stratton again in the bike. I don't see why he can't.
Next, we look at By the Missile, fresh off that win in the Augur Memorial at Harris, Philly. Are we seeing the By the Missile that we know he can be? I think 2024 left us a little questionable, right? Post 6, I think, is a decent spot. As we said, reunites with driver Chris Page. Trainer Ron Burke says he's starting the year strong, looking to see him just get better and better. So we'll have to see how he is here tonight.
I agree. If Ron Burke says he's ready, then I'm going to believe he is.
The last that we want to take a look at here is Helium N, the question mark in the race here for Dan and Christy Noble, racing at Open Company as of late. You have to wonder, is he ready to take on this type of level of horses? Talked with the connections this week. It was no surprise he's entered. He was purchased to compete at this level in 2025, Heather. He was a late arrival. They missed the Borgata. Post 9 makes him, I think, great play here tonight at 8-1. Hint, hint, another one to keep in mind for me for the battle. Keep your eye on this one.
Exactly. Stepping up from open competition into this field, but I think he will show that he fits.
You know, as we said, it's just such a tough race to win. You can be beat at the draw. I think this group's wide open group. It's going to set up for a lot of action. Let's talk quickly about Mike, your husband, Mike Wilder.
Oh, yes.
He's been in this race a time or two. What's he say about it?
He says that it is cowboy racing. I mean, when you're here at Northfield on a big night like tonight, these guys, these local guys, there's 3 of them that base here that have not won the race before. Kurt Sugg, Aaron Merriman, and Chris Lems. Those guys are going to be sending out of there. All the other guys that traveled in. I mean, it's crazy, but it's the best of the best racing.
Well, I take Mike's word for it, so we'll have to see. I think we're going to see just that here tonight. Heather, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with you. I hope I see driver Chris Lems around here somewhere. We hope to be seeing you, but we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Let's get 500 day, everybody get 500 down, everybody get 500.
The 2024 Harrisburg mixed sales shattered records with over $31 million in gross sales and a new all-time average of nearly $53,000. Broodmares, racehorses, weanlings, yearlings, and stallion shares were all part of the historic two-day auction. There is still time to enter the 2025 mixed sale happening November 6th and 7th. Visit theblackbook.com for details.
Dream of owning your own racehorse? How would you like to get in the winner's circle? With the #1 harness racing partnership in the U.S., VIP Stable. There's nothing like the thrill of your horse coming down the stretch. To find out more, call VIP Stable at 877-VIP-WIN1 or visit us on the web at www.vipstable.com. Turning horse racing fans into racehorse owners. Be a winner.
Standardbred Transition Alliance was created in 2019 to inspect, accredit, and award grants to approved organizations that acquire, rehabilitate, train, and rehome standardbred horses. Since 2020, the STA has issued over $725,000 to accredited programs. Today, STA-accredited aftercare organizations are providing placement opportunities and safety net services to thousands of standardbreds and their adopters. Want to help? Visit standardbredtransition.org to donate today.
I'm awful glad I won.
The Hamiltonian, it's one of the most prestigious races.
It's quite a thrill. This is one of the biggest thrills of my life.
We delivered. The horse delivered. It was amazing. I can't believe it.
I am stunned. I'm absolutely stunned.
This is obviously the pinnacle.
It's just something that I can't explain.
This is just an absolute dream come true.
It feels good now, but I'm sure it's going to feel even better tomorrow.
For me to do it, this is my moment.
I might have got a little excited.
The Standardbred Horse Sales Company is coming your way November 3rd through the 8th. There's still time to enter the mixed sale happening November 6th and 7th. Visit theblackbook.com for all the details. Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm your host Wendy Ross. It's a harnessracing.com preview show coming to you live tonight from Northfield Park as it's Battle Night 2025. We thank our sponsor, the Standardbred Horse Sales Company. Now I'm joined by this gentleman to my left, Chris Lems. Thank you for being with Heather and us tonight, Heather and me tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Now, we're so glad to have you with us here tonight. Of course, I'm sure you've got a full card coming your way, but let's start by saying congratulations. You're a newlywed.
Yes, yep. Got lucky and found a good one.
Well, you definitely did, Tessa. Heather and I have known Tessa for so many years. She is a good one. When I think of Tessa Lems now, I think of pure sunshine, and I think many would agree. Kindness.
Yep, well, I agree too.
Now, here's the thing. Now, some people get married. You guys are, of course, live right here in Cleveland. You're going to go down. You're going to get married in Cleveland. No. You guys said, we're going to get married in Montana. Please tell us how this all came about and how beautiful it was.
Oh, it was mostly her idea. We kind of wanted a smaller wedding, and she had seen photos from other people's weddings out there, and it was beautiful, and so we went out there, and it was beautiful.
Are you guys Yellowstone fans?
Oh, huge fans. It sucks that the show's gone now. But.
Now, when I looked at pictures of the wedding, it was a small ceremony. You and your closest friends. It was so great. The weather seemed to be it cooperated for you.
It was not great.
Okay.
It was very cold, windy, freezing rain.
Yeah.
About as miserable as it could get, but it was still a good time.
But Heather, you know this. When you're going to plan a harness racing wedding,
it's
you got to go. You can only really go in the spring or the late fall.
Exactly.
So you got to deal with the weather.
And that's what we had planned around, and it didn't really work out the way I planned it because they moved the first leg of the Sire Stakes to that weekend this year, but that's all right. You only get married once.
Well, and that's funny because I can't honestly. It was probably a 50-50 where you're like, Tess, can we move the date? Sire Stakes, right?
No, I was happy to be there, and I didn't.
You got to have your friends there, your friends, your family. I, of course, know the Akuskos. They were so happy. Howie was talking about it for months in advance. They couldn't wait, he and his wife, Jess, to be there and celebrate with you.
Yes, it was a great time. Like I said, some of my very best friends were there, and So we couldn't have been any better.
You got to solve a little mystery for me, and I think Heather's wondering the same thing. Now, you're from South Dakota, right?
Yes.
So how does a guy from South Dakota become a harness racing driver? Because I don't think they got too many harness racing tracks up there.
I'm actually third generation. My grandpa raced up in Canada, and my uncles grew up racing the Iowa and Minnesota county fairs. And that's where I grew up racing too.
So you grew up out there in the Black Hills, but in the Midwest.
So how did that work? How did you do that? How did you grow up there in the Black, and then just for the summer you'd move to those tracks? Or?
No, actually, I'm from just south of Sioux Falls, which is it's right where Iowa, Minnesota, and South Dakota meet, the 3 states. So a lot of the fairs were a long travel, but there was 1 or 2 that were decently close. So.
Now, here's a fun fact. Of course, I was the outrider up there at Tioga Downs for 11 meets, and that's where I originally met Chris Lems, was in the New York area. He was racing up there at Vernon, and then he would make his way to Tioga every now and then. Is that how you became friends with the Akuskas as well?
Yes, I went to college at Morrisville right out of high school, and Vernon Downs is 20 minutes down the road from there. So my first job I got was for Howie and Jess when I moved out there, and they were super to me, gave me great opportunities. They were like some of my first Sire Stakes drives in New York, and they did a lot for me.
Well, that's great. Now, of course, you made to Ohio quite some time. You've had a lot of great luck since you've made some great connections here. Met Tessa. Real quick, Tessa is now Tessa Lems. She's trainer Tessa Lems.
Yes, she actually just got her trainer's license a couple weeks before we got married, and she was very happy. We're lucky and had 1 win under her old last name, which was her grandpa's name, and she was very happy about that.
And speaking of her grandpa, when we talk about Battle, you can't leave out some of the great connections of the horses he's owned. Multi-Stardust, one of the first. What a great horse he was. I know that horse is always special to her.
Yes, she talks about him all the time.
Now, Chris, we could sit here and chat forever, but they say, Wendy, we're here to talk about the Battle. Ask her about the Battle. Let's talk about the drive you pick up on Chase H. Hanover tonight, post 7. Come on, they got to give us a little bit more love than 20-1, right?
This horse, he's super sharp right now. He's been racing the best of the best all year, and been right there all year. Post 7 is very unfortunate, but I think he's a very versatile horse. So hopefully we can have some luck.
Yeah, and I think that's all you can do, right? Especially for post 7. But one thing about this race, you've driven in this race before. It can get a little crazy. You need a little luck, but sometimes that's all you need.
Well, and it's Northfield Park. Every race is a little crazy. So
I know. So you've been driving. I saw you had a win over there at the Meadows yesterday.
I had 2. Got lucky to get 2. Yeah.
I think there's more to luck to do that. But congratulations.
Thank you.
And of course, May's doing some driving over there and at full time here at Northfield.
Yes. Yeah. And I just I've been going to the other tracks just for follow some of my stakes horses or my better accounts, but mostly just here. Yeah.
You were doing double duty before, going back and forth. Is it something that you just decided that it was a little too much, or?
It was, it wears on you. That it's a lot of travel, a lot of work, and now that me and Tessa have a stable of our own, that makes it even tougher to travel, especially afternoon cards at the Meadows, and get done at the barn before you got to leave by 10 o'clock in the morning after racing till midnight here the night before. But I might try to go back. I just, for right now, I'm just kind of following the stakes horses around.
What's the goal? I know that you had 1 horse, now you have 2 horses. What's the goal? Is this going to be a stable operation where you go through and?
We are at 6 right now, and I said that is the limit.
I am accepting applications.
No, I have.
Woo! You guys are busy.
I have turned down a couple. I'm sticking to my guns at 6 right now.
Chris, don't let Tessa call Heather, because Heather, I think Mike wanted to train about 10, and heck, they got 4 in the barn. It's her fault. Mike said it's her fault.
Well, and I make her do most of the work, so she probably doesn't want any more than 6 either.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, Chris, we're going to let you go. We're going to wish you the best of luck in the Battle tonight. So nice for you to take time. One more thing before I let you go. You're wearing your green here tonight in the memorial of your friend Hunter Myers. Such a sad loss for you, but I know he's going to be with you tonight. He's been with you ever since.
Yeah, I feel like, it was a terrible event, but I feel like he's pushed me across a lot of times so far. He's definitely, I feel like he's always there with me.
Well, he'll be watching you tonight. Chris, thank you so much. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with you. Preview show is sponsored in part by VIP Stable. VIP Stable has been turning horse racing fans into racehorse owners since 1999. And now it's your turn. Join VIP and experience the thrill of harness racing ownership. For more information, visit VIPstable.com. Hello and welcome back. Wendy Ross, your host here, joined with Heather Wild, and of course this gentleman sitting in the center, a rose between two thorns.
I think it's the opposite.
Dave Bianconi. Dave, thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure. It's the first time I've ever been on the set with you, probably, huh?
Well, I just told Heather, I said, caution everyone,
Yeah.
This is still June. This is Battle Night. We'll be coming to you in September.
Yeah, if you're not sick, if you're not sick of us after 10 minutes today, wait till September.
Wait 3 months. We'll be right back with you. So Battle Night, always a big one. And hats off to you guys. You always do such a great job here.
I appreciate it. And like I said, you were saying, this race has really turned out to be, one of the premier races of the year in the sport.
Yeah.
And really where it's kind of stationed every year, early June, it's really one of the first major stakes races of the year. We get started so much later than the thoroughbreds, but we kind of run a little later too with our stake schedule. But this is really one of the first big ones, besides maybe the Borgata and the Cutler. There haven't been a ton of open stakes like this.
And I think when we see the horses racing the Borgata, it's about that time you got your eye on them and you're like, we'll be picking this one. Now, tell us a little bit about this race. Is it invite or how does it go?
Invite only.
Invite only.
A few years back, I turned all of our races into invitationals. I just feel like it really widens the pool of horses you can choose from. Obviously, you don't have to worry about, this horse isn't staked. And let's face it, when people are staking, you could tell your dad,
exactly. You don't know.
Mike,
Right,
especially to a half-mile track in Ohio, it's probably not their number one thing they're going to stake. But when they hear they get a free crack at $200,000, it's a little different story.
And I emphasize the invite because some people might read the program and say, what is invitational? So that explains it, exactly what an invitational is and what it means in the program.
Correct. Unless I say there's an entry fee, but if you don't pay an entry fee unless you scratch. So these horses, none of them are scratched, thank goodness. They're racing for free tonight for a free shot at $200,000. So
$200,000, right? And this race, like we've been talking the whole time we've been on air, how exciting this race is, right?
It's a great field this year. It really is.
It always is, and just the environment around here, like we said, coming in at 4 o'clock, it was packed inside. People were filling up out here, the band, everything. Northfield Park always is able to capture this energy of harness racing. I think you guys do a great job of that.
Come back on a Tuesday night in January.
Yes, but you still wager $1 million.
That's true.
That's pretty impressive. Northfield handle is, impressive any night.
It has been solid, and like you said, and I mainly handle the racing part, not the promotions, but they do a great job. When you race 200 and some nights a year, we race over 3,000 races a year. I always say they're not all the Battle of Lake Erie. Well, tonight it really is the Battle of Lake Erie. So we try to, sex things up a little bit. And
now you might not be in charge of promotions, but I know you, and I know if you said this band is playing like 70s and 80s rock, I definitely know you gave the nod there.
I did go see AC/DC a week ago Wednesday at the stadium, so it was tremendous.
Do you don't know how many jugs? He's like, guys, I got to leave early. He's either got dinner with his daughter from Ohio State, or he's got to go while he was.
About 4 years ago, we went to Guns N' Roses, so I had to leave. I left right before the jug. Don't tell Tom Wright.
You don't tell him, Tom. Anyway, so we talk about the card. Can you believe the first one was back in 1986? Were you here then? Now,
I was not.
Asking that.
I was not. I've been to almost all of them. I've certainly been to every one since '91, and this is the 30th anniversary. Every girl's dream. I got engaged at the after party.
Oh wow!
At the Battle of Lake Erie '95. Every girl's dream.
What a romantic.
We're still married.
Yes, you are.
And it's strange because I was living with Jody Essig then.
Okay.
He won the freaking race that night.
Oh wow!
Catch driving. So it was a big
such a momentous occasion.
It was a big night in the apartment. Yeah.
It really was. Now when we talk about these races, which one do you think's been one? Can you name one favorite or a couple
of the battles?
Yeah.
Well, that one because I got engaged and we are still married, so it worked out. The year before, when Arrive at 5 won, 1994. We didn't even we had no simulcasting yet. It was all live. We bet $1 million on track. That sounds like something from the Paleozoic
I know,
age.
You can't believe it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched some of the old videos, and it was amazing. I mean, you will pack this anyway. That'll be, but
Right.
when you saw people were standing on top of each other, they had seats. They were standing on things. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a seat probably anywhere in the house.
Oh yeah, I mean you used to have to tip the maitre d' to get into the clubhouse. I mean,
yeah, I
it
remember
was
the clubhouse.
those were
right?
high times,
Yeah.
you know.
I spent many of 8, 9 years, 10-year-old nights
Right.
up there Saturday nights in the clubhouse, and that's for sure. Now, you do all the you still doing all the post-race interviews, right?
I am tonight.
Okay,
Yes.
you are going to do them
Mhm.
tonight. You've had some. Now, there's one thing if you got to do post-race interviews. Heather, you know, as I know, you're watching the race. You're like, okay, you got a couple you think that like could be the favorite, could win, and then just one flies out of there at 50-1, 40-1. Of course, we saw the horse race win at 31-1. What is it like when you're sitting there and you're like, oh wow, Plan B, or when you know you got to do that interview?
I like it when they shake it up a little bit. We have had a lot of upset winners here the last couple of years. I think they've been 20-1 and 25-1. I think the last couple of battle winners. So. And tonight, I'd say, is pretty wide open, too. So I haven't done a lot of homework because I have no idea who I'm going to be interviewing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Who do you guys like? Do you have a big favorite here?
Well, I can't reveal that.
I don't.
Until the handicapping
Yeah, I was
part.
going to say, you guys are the handicappers. I have one, but I'm not going to. Yeah.
We have been saying that it is pretty wide open, and
Yeah.
I think from the way the race drew out, the interesting one is Helium from Post 9 puts him in a good spot. Hint again on maybe my potential battle pick. Just saying, but I think that's puts it with Noble puts Noble in the inside there. It's always going to be a little tricky.
Yes.
And it's sort of the mystery horse. He's only raced here about 5 times. And he's been unbelievable. I mean, in New Zealand, he couldn't beat anybody.
Well, and we mentioned after talking to the connections this week, they purchased him to race at this level. They just got him late. He didn't make the Brigada in time, but they have full confidence that he can compete against these horses at this level. So tonight, I know he's been racing in the Open, which it's no easy task down there at Toyota. Clearly been the best down there. We're going to see tonight what he's made of.
Yeah, and you know what I like about this field? Usually there's 1 or 2 horses that I kind of had to fill it out and invite somebody. These are totally legit. There was a couple more that didn't get in that are totally legit.
Did you have to turn?
You know, that's the nice thing. In the last 5 or so years, people are beating down my door to get in.
Yeah.
For the battle. It's a little different for the Milstein because there were so many 3-year-old races in that short time span. But for the battle, I mean, I could have 2 battles. I mean, that's how many people are beating down the door to get in. I got almost everyone I invited said yes this year. Only a couple said no.
That's wonderful. That's certainly good. Now, one thing I want to say before it's going to be, we're going to let Heather go. You and I are going to come back onto the handicapping segment. One thing we talk about Northfield Park is that handle. You did. You're humble about it, but you changed the game when it comes to simulcasting as far as your signal and getting it out.
Right place at the right time, Wendy. I'm a salesman at heart, I guess, and I went out and sold it at a time when not many people were doing that. Again, back into the dinosaur era of the 90s, it was kind of the birth of simulcasting. I got us in at the right time. We race year round. Very competitive product. We have a lot of one thing. We have a lot of horses.
They love the mile, but they love the half.
Yeah, I mean it's a niche thing, but knock on wood, it's been a good run. I just had my 34th anniversary here of working here. I know it's hard to believe.
I know. I can't think of Northfield without thinking about you for sure. But we're going to take a quick break and we're going to let Heather go. But Dave and I are going to come back with some wagering options, our best bets, and our battle picks. We'll be right back.
Member of the United States Trotting Association and take advantage of special benefits including pathway savings, member pricing on American Horse Council publications, and discounts on products and services, and so much more. USTrotting.com is where you'll find entries and results from all the racetracks and get behind-the-scenes stories as the USTA visits farms and stables before major races such as the Hambletonian, Little Brown Jug, and Breeders' Crown. It's easy to join. Fill out the new member form on our website or call our member services department at 877-800-USTA.
HarnessRacing.com preview shows are back. Presented by the Standard Bred Horse Sales Company. Join Wendy Ross and Heather Wilder at 5 p.m. Saturday, June 7th, live from Northfield Park as they set the stage for the Battle of Lake Erie. Then at 5 p.m. Thursday, June 12th, Wendy teams up with John Rallis to preview the North America Cup, insight, interviews, and everything you need. Streaming on U.S. Trotting Facebook, YouTube, and X.
You just get 500 days, everybody get 500 down, everybody get 500. Get there.
The 2024 Harrisburg mixed sales shattered records with over $31 million in gross sales and a new all-time average of nearly $53,000. Broodmares, racehorses, weanlings, yearlings, and stallion shares were all part of the historic two-day auction. There's still time to enter the 2025 mixed sale happening November 6th and 7th. Visit theblackbook.com for details.
The HarnessRacing.com preview show is sponsored in part by Winback Farm. Congratulations to the 2025 New Jersey Sire Stake final winner, Smooth Dream. Winback, bred, raised, and sold. Hello everyone, welcome back. Wendy Ross joined by Dave Bianconi now, as it's the handicapping portion of our show. Dave, we might know a thing about handicapping, right?
I always say, if I knew he was going to win, I wouldn't have to work here. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what we wanted to cover tonight, of course, we're going to do the pick 4 here, starts in race 11 through 14. Wow, you cover your bases here in that battle, and the first kicks it off with the battle in race 11. Now, interesting, who puts this pick 4 together, like you do, or exactly where?
Yeah, I mean, I order the races, and obviously I wanted an all-stakes pick 4 here, and I wanted the battle to be the head of it, and then the MGM Buckeye Distaff is part of it too. So it's a power pack pick 4 to say the least.
Now you see different prices on pick 4s. You guys always it's the Northfield goes with the $1 pick 4 in there. What is the?
I'll be honest with you. On a half-mile track, you're going to get a lot of favorites. If you're playing a 20-cent pick 4, what do you want it to pay? Sometimes $1.60.
Right.
So I'm a larger minimum bet fan, to be perfectly frank. I don't like penny minimum or dime. I bet $1.
Let's do it.
And plus, you're never going to have a carryover if you have a 20-cent too, because all the numbers will be covered for sure.
Go big or go home.
Yeah.
We're going to look at it. We're going to get that graphic back up here. We're going to look at this pick 4 for me. Race 11, 9, 6, 1, and 5. That's going to be highlighted by that top horse, Helium N, was going to be my battle pick as well, but we'll get back to that. Race 11 for you, 1, 3, 4, 5, and 9. That's what we call covering our bases because it's a wide open group.
Yes, and this is for entertainment purposes only.
Yes,
exactly.
I
hate to look like I'm rooting for anyone because, as the race secretary, for sure.
Asterisk.
But you'll notice I did not use By the Missile, and that is simply for trying to get a price in there. I think damn near anyone could win it. So I went with 1, 3, 4, 5, and 9. But I mean, this is as wide open as a race if we've ever had him. By the Missile will probably be the favorite, but I don't think he'll be much less than 2 to 1.
Well, I leave off Desperate Man, which could be a question mark as well for people being they can't. But for me, I feel confident. Moving on to the race 12 here, 2 deep for me, 5, 2 in here for me. You go 2, 4, 5, 6, so you go 4 deep as well.
Yes.
Again, covering your bases here for this Ohio State Sire Stake 3-year-old Colton Gelding trot.
Yes, I had a much stronger feeling in the last couple legs than this. To me, this is a very good group of 3-year-old trotters. I ended up using 2, 4, 5, and 6, trying to get a price or 2 in there as well. But 2 is probably the horse to beat.
Yeah, and of course I used the 5 in there, Jet Wings. Brett Miller doing the regular driving for trainer Virgil Morgan. Got some X's down there on those previous lines, but I think this, if he behaves, I think all of the capability. I like what I'm seeing the last 2 lines. Moving on to race 13, 3, 1, 9 for me. You go single here with the 9. You go, where are we? Hold on.
This is the MGM Buckeye Distaff, the 13th, yes.
And this is the Distaff, of course. Do it like Bobby. You go with the 9 here.
I'm going single, taking a stand.
Okay.
She has just missed to some tough horses with some tough trips. I think tonight is going to be her night. This is a really good group of Ohio sired 4-year-old and up mares. Again, an invitational for $75,000. And Dan Noble, boy, when the lights are shining brightest, he's really good. So I'm going to give the edge to the horse from the second tier of the 9. Do it like Bobby.
For me, the 3 in here, Fearless Ginger, of course, Paige driving for the Bird Connections, coming off that win down there at Scioto and Philly and Mare Open Company. Dave's phone is ringing. You're hotter than Ken Beer, I'm sure, around here. The 1, My Red Sea, Brett Miller doing the driving there, coming off another win in the Philly and Mare Open at Scioto. And of course, I agree with you at the 9. Do it like Bobby. Moving on to the 14th, the last leg. I single here with the 3, 7 to 5. I don't think we're going to get any big wins in here. We both single here with the 3. Fear the Hate for Chris Patron Berkshire.
I was going to make this one my quote-unquote best bet, but he's going to be 1 to 5 or 2 to 5. But I think this is a can't lose. This horse, what an acquisition this one's been for the Berks, as if they needed another really good 3-year-old. But this one is very good. 14-3.
For me, the best bet here, when we talk about beating the Berks, I looked at Mocha Hill. I went to race 3, post 5, Wild as You, Tyler Smith driving for trainer Chris Beaver here. This filly's been racing really, really well and has had 3 in a row. She was second place first last down there in the victory at Scioto, and I feel like she can beat the one in here, Mocha Hill, for Paige and Burke. So I'm going to go with this best bet here, 5-1. I'm going to try to give away a little bit of a price here.
Take a stand, Wendy Ross. I like that.
Take a stand. If I'm here, if we're going to do it, let's do it right.
Right.
So, and of course, your best bet is do it like Bobby. We said the mare in the distaff. Now, battle pick time. Where are we going? I know we talked about our pick 4s. Battle pick for me. Post 9, Helium N with the Noble Connections.
We're both going for long shots. I'm going with the 3, Ken Hanover. I know he's moving up in class, but the last couple of lines, he come a back half in 52 and change at Pocono.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing is red hot, and I'll be perfectly honest. The trainer, Roland Millar, he was not happy that he was not invited to the big race at Philadelphia. And I think he wants to prove a little something here that this horse belongs. So I think Ken Hanover's got a big shot.
Here's the thing, Ken Hanover, looking back in his 3-year-old year, he was a good 3-year-old as well. He just caught up with a big group there, I think, that year. But he was always
he won a jug heat.
Yeah, and he won a jug heat, right? It's Poli Maller, I think, because he goes by Poli. And he, so we think, he was meant to be this type of horse. Is tonight going to be the night? 6-1. Bianconi thinks you could get a little bit of a price. I'm going to go 8-1 from the inside draw. I just said Noble from post 9. He's not going to be able to do what he likes to do, which is just leave out of there real fast.
True.
He's going to either get away. I think if he's smart, which I'm not telling him how to, he knows how to drive. I'm sitting here holding the mic. He tries to trip it out.
There's plenty of speed in front of him, that's for sure.
For sure. And it could, and if he trips it out and lets him battle it out there early, or him, he's not going to be able to sit. He's going to shake it up, and they're going to go really fast. Beginning fractions and see who picks up the pieces from the end. That's usually how it works out here, right?
Yes. Yeah, people think, the front end, blah, blah, blah. We've had a lot of horses come from behind of late in here because the front end is usually like 26 and 53.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the fractions are here, but they could be wicked.
Now, we talked about these wagering options. What else do we have in store to look for?
Of course, the 13th race, we had a $20,000 estimated. That's a 20-cent super high 5. That's a little tougher when you have to have 5 horses in there. So we'll let you bet 20 cents in that one. But, there are pick 3s and super high 5s and another early pick 4 strewn throughout the card. But the big one is the pick 4, 25,000 that starts with the Battle of Lake Erie in race 11, which should probably be, if all things work out, a little after 10 o'clock. I think the last North America Cup Elim's going to go a little bit before 10, and we'll probably be, not too far, 10, 15 minutes after that.
Well, Dave, thank you so much. We know you're busy. You have so many duties here. The phone's ringing. You're getting texts. So we thank you so much for stopping by with us tonight. Hats off to you and everyone here that puts together such a great show. And we're going to look forward to hearing that post-race interview from you.
And thanks so much to you and Heather and the USTA for coming up.
We'll be right back. I'll be joined back with Heather, and we'll be right back.
We are athletes. We are drivers. We are caretakers. We are owners. We are trainers. We are fans. We are harness racing.
For over 25 years, the VIP Internet stable has been turning racehorse fans into owners. Started in 1999, VIP stable has won over 2,400 races and has earned over $37 million, racing in some of the biggest races like the Hamiltonian Oaks, the Mohawk Million, the Battle of Lake Erie, the Maple Leaf Trot, and so many more. Want to join the #1 harness racing partnership in the U.S.? Now you can. Check out this year's 2024 yearling class as they gear up for their 2025 two-year-old racing season. Own as little as 0.5% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill of your horse coming down the stretch. VIP Stable, putting fans into the winner's circle.
Welcome to Northfield Park. The tempo, and now it wishes for kisses, puts her nose in front.
Win back Farm
through into race 1, number 8.
Welcome back to the HarnessRacing.com preview show. Wendy Ross joined with Heather Wilder. Heather, we had to let Dave Bianconi go. He's so busy here, especially on a night like the Battle.
Yes, and it's funny, you know, I feel bad for him. It was so nice of him to take time to be with us because, yeah, he's wearing so many hats tonight.
He does, but he has fun. And like I said, we were making a joke because, of course, you do the paddock interviews at Delaware. Of course, you help us because last year we were actually able to do them on air again, which we hadn't been able to. And then, of course, it's him, me, Roger, and whoever else gets to be with us. So yeah, it's all in Gabe.
Yes, I love being a part of that crew. You know, I just do the behind the scenes stuff, but it's always so much fun to work with all of you. So it's great to be on set with
it's like
Dave
a pre-jug 3 month in advance.
Yeah, it is.
Stay
right?
tuned, right? Yep. But as far as we have horses warming up here, we got the track announcer, Living Good, he just came over and he said 15 minutes to the first race, so they're getting ready here. The track is fast, a little breeze coming our way, the flag's flying. We always like to see that. I think it's going to set up, and it's not even too hot here, not too cold.
I know.
It's going to be a great night of racing here.
It's perfect. I thought there for a couple days that we might have some rain to deal with, and not at all. And even, you know, it's the perfect temperature. You're not under that blistering sun, so it really is. It's nice. Beautiful night.
If anyone that knows does live television or anything like that, the weather, right? Especially for our USTA team, they have everything set up, and hats off to the whole team. They've been working here all day, getting this set up to do these live shows. We're so lucky to be able to do that. The weather is really key because if it's too hot or if it rains, you know, we don't like to see that. So weather is always something, and of course for what we wear and our hair and everything.
Hair and all that. It's amazing everything that you can't see because you don't get to see our view. But there's monitors, there's wires, there's things going on. 3 different people running all this to make this happen. So it really is amazing the crew that you guys have.
Well, Heather, we thank you so much, really, for being with us here tonight. We hope we get to maybe have you as a co-host once again this year. We hope you've had fun.
Right, I had a great time. I really loved it. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you for having me. And, you know, ready, aim, fire. Like, let's go race. That's the battle.
The battle of the year.
The battle, yep. The
ready,
battle of the
aim,
shore.
And fire. Thank you again to our sponsors, Standardbred Horse Sales Company, VIP Stable, and Winback Farms. As we mentioned, Dave Bianconi, lots of wagering options tonight, especially that high 5. And the pick 4 is a good one, stake loaded. So make sure if you got some extra dollars hanging around, you put it in there. Thank you for watching. A lot of great racing everywhere else too, especially up there in Canada. We have the North America Cup eliminations and many more great racing up there in Canada. So just keep your eye down here. We'll be going off there. As Dave said, the battle post should be about 10 p.m. going off of the North American Cup elimination.
And you have your show on Thursday, featuring the North American Cup horses.
Wow, you are just.
I know.
Thank you very much. Yes, we'll be back with you at 5 o'clock on Thursdays. We're doing a remote show with our Canadian connections, and we're going to highlight the North America Cup coming your way next weekend. My co-host will be John Rallis. I've never done much work with John, but he's been doing really great things, so I'm looking forward to having him and other Canadians on our show next weekend.
I think it's going to be great.
Very good. Heather, thank you so much. We hope you've enjoyed our show, and we hope you're watching here at Northfield Park as well as everywhere else. Great racing is coming your way. Thank you, and best of luck.